You're watching AFN Pacific, a service of AFRTS.
Tonight on Pacific Report, new cellular numbers in Japan and new housing in Hawaii. Good evening. Welcome to Pacific Report. I'm Staff Sergeant Fitzgerald Stewart. An Air Force technical sergeant from Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska, was killed on January 1st at approximately 1 a.m. while walking outside the base. An Elmendorf public affairs official said 33-year-old Jeffrey Gobler of the 632nd Air Mobility Support Squadron was crossing a street off base when a car struck him. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Local officials have apprehended the suspected driver. Although that incident was not winter-related, it does bring light to precautions pedestrians should take when walking in extreme winter conditions. Elmendorf's ground safety manager, Mr. Bob Madera, says that pedestrians should wear clothing that can be seen by drivers.
I think the most important thing, if you're walking on the side of a road or in any type of winter condition environment, is to be visible. Wear reflective gear so other cars can see you. A lot of times when people get hit, pedestrians get hit, it's mostly because the cars that are coming do not know they're there.
Mr. Madera went on to say that pedestrians should also be aware of signals that indicate a driver may be drunk.
Sometimes they drive with their headlights off. They're erratic in their driving patterns. So whether you're driving or walking, you can always watch out for drivers like that. And you want to keep a distance away from them. If you're following them, make sure you give them their distance. Always leave a little distance between yourself and the other vehicle in winter conditions.
Elmendorf held a memorial service for Tech Sergeant Gobler today on base. His body will be flown to Wisconsin for burial. In other news, cellular telephone using service members in Japan rang in the new year with an extra digit. The Japanese telecommunications industry expanded their phone number length from 10 to 11 digits. That move will accommodate the increasing number of portable phone users, now estimated at nearly 44 million. The shift to the 11-digit system creates 80 million phone lines. Cell phone numbers now begin with a 090 prefix, then the second digit of the original number and its final 7 digits. For example, the old number 040-777-7777 now becomes 090-4-777-7777. Personal handy phone systems use the 070 prefix instead. Cellular and PHS telephones require a conversion by telephone companies. You can have a couple of options if you're a married service member looking for a place to live. You can live in base housing or move off base. The good thing about being on base is it's free. If you choose to live off base, you will get a housing allowance, but in some places this doesn't cover the cost of sufficient housing. If base housing is full, you have to move outside the gates and take up the difference yourself. Corporal Josh Walker says officials on Kaneohe Bay Marine Corps Base in Hawaii realized that Marines and their families were facing this problem, so they did something about it.
The base wanted to help, so they searched for a way to fix the housing problem. The solution was the 802 housing area. They're off-base contracted apartments, making more room for E5 and E6 families. The military doesn't own the houses, but they are at a lower cost and let families live in a nice place on their income.
We had a great deficit on the civilian market to accommodate our military families, and also on base we did not have enough adequate housing to take care of our service members. So it's filled a huge void in our housing availabilities for our service members.
The area houses nearly 600 family members, and some residents think 802 is some of the best housing they've ever seen.
The apartments are really spacious and lets a lot of sunlight in and the breeze. They're really big and beautiful. A lot of other military housing areas, the apartments are dark and dingy and, you know, upstairs, downstairs, and these are really nice.
This housing was the answer for Marines and their families looking for a place to live that they can still afford. Corporal Josh Walker, AFN News, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii.
Now, from the AFN Weather Center, this is an AFN Weather Update.
I'm Staff Sergeant Terry Sherman in the AFN Weather Center.
The 13th and 14th Fighter Squadrons recently competed in an integrated combat turn as part of Misawa's 35th Wing Turkey Shoot. Airman First Class Dave Lofton checked out the 13th Fighter Squadron as it strives for the best time in the ICT competition.
When a jet takes to the sky during war, its fuel and ammunition supply isn't limitless. So it's up to the ground crew to make sure the jet's ready to fly and fight. The crew hones their skills to keep the mission successful. One way they do this is through Integrated Combat Turn, or ICT, competitions. Recently, the 13th and 14th Fighter Squadrons of Misawa's 35th Fighter Wing matched their skills to get the best times and safest reload. First, the pilot takes the jet out of the hangar and simulates a landing. Then it's up to the crew to get him back to the hangar for reloading and refueling. After the crew quickly and thoroughly gets the jet ready, the pilot performs an acceptance inspection. The fighter pilot takes one last look to make sure the jet is ready for battle. Both squadrons try to complete the ICT in less than 45 minutes, but speed is not the most important aspect of the competition. The key is safety. Airman Dave Lofton, AFN News, Misawa Air Base, Japan.
Marines are widely known as being expert marksmen, able to hit targets at 500 meters with deadly accuracy. However, Marine security guards don't usually carry weapons with that type of range. Marine Corporal Nathan Miller got a chance to watch Marines at the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo train in ways to remove unruly people without using a firearm.
Classes will be on pressure point control techniques and PR-24.
These Marines are entrusted to guard the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo. Embassy duty is considered a combat tour because they must always be ready for the unexpected. To keep proficient in their mission requires constant training. The first period of instruction covered pressure point control techniques, or PPCT, which are usually used to remove people staging sit-ins or other similar activities. During the class, the Marines learn how to apply pressure without harming anyone, a skill valuable in removing unwanted visitors. The next period of instruction, PR-24 side-handle baton refresher training. The PR-24 is used to help defend against rioters or people who have become physically aggressive. While Tokyo is a city known for being peaceful, safe, and respectful towards others, there are still occasions when an individual has to be physically removed from the embassy. The Marine Guards don't take kindly to people causing scenes or disturbances at their embassy. They take their mission very seriously.
We're there to do a certain job, and we are going to get that job accomplished. You know, one way or another, we will get that job accomplished. We do not want to go ahead there and hurt anybody, but we will do what we need to do to protect our embassy.
By training on a regular basis, the Marines will be able to provide the safety that's demanded of them from their embassy. Marine Corporal Nathan Miller, AFN News, the U.S. Embassy Housing Compound, Tokyo.
As such.
Still ahead, we'll visit a Yokota unit that specializes in making parts for planes.
Pilot engineer, we've got an engine low oil quantity light.
Okay, crew, let's do the engine shutdown procedure for number 3 engine.
This is Hit 911. Requesting parking and maintenance to meet us there.
This is Wing Bob with an in-flight emergency. In-flight emergencies on a C-130.
Spare 5 copies.
What do you get when you're having problems and turnaround time is a high priority? You get action.
Yeah, Chief, we lost oil quantity, number 3 engine.
All right, we'll take a look at it.
You get performance. You get teamwork.
To me, nothing is more beautiful than our glorious planet. And yet, the environments we create for ourselves seem repeatedly to separate us from nature. Now, with this building, I'll combine technology with the beauty of nature to create a harmony never before seen in architecture.
The spirit of innovation, like the architecture of the 1930s, it has inspired Americans throughout our history to introduce new ideas that improve the quality of life. The spirit of innovation has many faces, like the creation of the first typewriter by American Christopher Sholes in 1867, or the electric washing machine by Alva Fisher in 1907.
To take a concept and expand upon it to create something better than before. Some call it progress. I call it the American spirit of innovation.
Aircraft maintainers in the Air Force have earned a reputation for doing whatever it takes to keep their planes flying. Sometimes this involves simple maintenance. At other times, it requires complete overhauls or parts replacement. But what happens when a jet mechanic needs to replace a part and the part itself needs repair? Senior Airman Sean Schroeder reports that's when the fix-it men and women turn to the metals technicians.
Anytime you have a metal part that's in need of repair, this is the shop that can do it. They're the metals technology elements, a section of the 374th Maintenance Squadron.
We actually manufacture, which means we make parts out of solid metal, fix badly damaged parts that are distorted, cracked, or broken. We weld them back together, or we make new parts to replace those.
This shop repairs and welds metal parts for Yokota's helicopters and planes. They also lend their expertise to help out organizations such as the dental clinic, hospital, and commissary.
You can see what you do at the end of the day, and you see how you fit into the overall mission and how we support the flying mission here at Yokota.
This airman is repairing an engine exhaust tail for one of Yokota's C-130s. It's an important part that could potentially destroy the aircraft, putting lives at risk. His craftsmanship gives crew members confidence when they take to the skies. 5 airmen make up the Metals Technology Shop. They're the ones you turn to when you need a special job done. Senior Airman Sean Schroeder, AFN News, Yokota Air Base, Japan.
And on that note, we close out this Tuesday evening edition of our newscast. From the entire Pacific team that makes it possible, thank you for watching. I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Fitzgerald Stewart. From Yokota Air Base, Japan, bringing the Pacific Command to the world, this is Pacific Report.
AFN Pacific Report is compiled from AFRTS and Public Affairs news sources and is a production of Detachment 10, Air Force News Agency.